Hey guys, welcome to South Korea, the town of Busan, which is the second largest town here in Korea. And Hyundai flew me all the way to Korea, not to look at this, which is the Ioniq 5, but to look at that, the Ioniq 6. And in this video, we're going to do a complete walk around. I'm going to show you all the cool features. We're going to talk about charging. We're going to talk about everything there is to know about the Ioniq 6. But the reason I'm starting with the Ioniq 5 is simple. The Ioniq 6 is built on the same platform. As you guys know, the Ioniq 5 was kind of groundbreaking. It was really the first car that brought direct competition to Tesla with kind of this retro styling and with a range that was close to Tesla's and with very fast charging and with unique design, kind of this pixel design, as you can see right there. And the Ioniq 6 takes it to the next level. In fact, it even gets greater range. So I think I've teased you long enough. Let's walk around, and I'll do my best to get around the scrum here in Korea because they just unveiled it, to show you the inside of the car, to show you the trunk. But before we do that, let's look at different colors, because this car has some really unique and unusual colors. I think this is my favorite. It's kind of this matte silver color, and one of the most interesting details, I think, is right in the front here. Look at this new Hyundai logo. It's completely almost embedded in the heart of the car. And then you've got these two little panels in the front here, which are actually active Aero, that open up, provide a little bit more cooling. And then the pixel theme that started in the Ioniq 5 continues in the Ioniq 6 with more pixels everywhere. And then the other cool thing, of course, is the back end of this car. Now, to me, it's a little reminiscent of the old Infiniti J30, if you remember that. It's kind of droopy. Hyundai calls this not a sedan, which it is because it has obviously 4 doors, and not a fastback, but a streamliner car. I think that's the word they used, something similar to that. I call it kind of interesting and unique, and with everything, you know, that is different, there's always an upside and there's always a downside. So we'll get into that as well. But before we start crawling around the inside of the car and getting into the numbers, let's talk about the different colors. Look at this. This is almost, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it's almost plum crazy. It's a very purple color, and you got to be pretty ballsy to actually be able to, excuse me guys, to be able to come out with a purple car if you're not Dodge, because that is certainly unique. And one of the things you immediately notice, unfortunately, that we won't get is this right there. That mirror is a camera mirror, and then the inside of that is displayed on a little screen. I'll walk around here and I'll show you where that screen is. Let me show you. So you can see kind of, I'm just going to get around you. I want to show them the screen just for a second. There we go. Right there. Sorry, thank you. So that's very polite here. That's the screen that displays the mirror. Unfortunately, in America, these camera mirrors are illegal. And until our legislation changes, we won't be able to have those in our country, which is a shame, because I actually think they're really cool. And they give this car an Aero profile of 0.21 coefficient of drag, which is about the same as some of the most Aero cars in the world, including cars like the Mercedes EQS. I think it's just a slightly more Aero than the 0.21 coefficient that this car has. So let's keep going. Let's look at some other colors. They have, I think, 4 of these cars here. So I want to give you kind of a look at the different colors so you can kind of see what is available. And this car will be sold in America next year. Pricing has not yet been released. If you're interested in dimensions and you understand Korean, there are all the dimensions. What, of course, you probably know already is that this has the exact same chassis as the Ioniq 5. So it comes in a rear-wheel drive and in an all-wheel drive vehicle. And the big news is, let me jump in this one. It seems like it's open for me to jump into. Can I go inside? Thank you. You got these funky handles, of course. The big news is that it actually gets, on the European cycle, 610 kilometers on a single charge, which is pretty amazing. So 610 kilometers, that's on the European cycle, which is different from ours. Ours is a little bit more rough. And then you can see the dual screens here. Everything's in Korean. And then this is also interesting. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 dots. And these dots do different things. For instance, they light up when you're charging the car to let you know the state of charge. And then if you guys know Morse code, you will also know that 4 dots obviously is the letter H. And this being a Hyundai, you get it. No logo, but a logo-like thing. And then, of course, here are the rear view mirrors that are camera enabled. There's the other one over there. Looking around, you've got different drive modes in this vehicle. And Hyundai, and this is where it gets a little funky, guys, says that this car is meant to be not only efficient, but also a comforting, a relaxing place to be. So there are different themes in here that light up different colors for you to actually be able to be creative in the car or to be relaxed. One of them is, actually my favorite one of them is called Wonderful Day. And one of the things that the car does is, as you can see here, I can recline this all the way back, and the theory is that you can go and you can kind of chill out in your car and come up with great moments of inspiration. But yeah, you know, after 2 years of working out of my house, the last thing I think some people want to do is go and work out of their car in a garage. But you know, this is a country the size of Indiana with 40 million people, and so a lot of people here obviously live in high-rise apartments. So to have some personal space, I think, is very important. For me, that's not what this car is about. So different drive modes, and of course, very typical Hyundai controls, a mixture of both real buttons and touch buttons, which is nice. I like having nice buttons. If you have been in the Ioniq 5, you'll recognize this power selector. It's directly out of the Ioniq 5. That's how you put it in gear. We're looking at a 77 kilowatt hour battery. And like I said, on the European cycle, Hyundai says they'll go 610 kilometers, which would translate to about 400 miles on a full battery. But I don't think it's going to do that in America. Our cycle is a little bit more stringent, a little bit harder. So expect a range of, you know, over 300 miles. They have not officially announced it yet. But yeah, it'll be good. And the other great thing about the Ioniq 6 and the Ioniq 5, I'm going to jump in the back, gentlemen. Thank you. Actually, can you pop the back? I want to show the back. Let me pop the back here. Let me show you what that looks like. So there's your trunk. It's pretty good size. I think there is a ski pass through. It's kind of dark in there. You can't tell. But nevertheless, a good size. And it is a traditional trunk. So I would call this, you know, a fastback or a sedan. Not sure if it's a streamliner, but, you know, companies like their marketing. Oh, I can't lock it. I'll close it this way. So I was saying there is a downside to this kind of, if I'm being kind, sloping, if I'm being mean, droopy back end. And the problem is right here. Let me show you. Tons of room back here, like the Ioniq 5. The problem is, of course, with headroom. And if you look at me, I'm sitting, you know, with not my hair, but my head, very deep in the roof of the car. And part of that, of course, is the sunroof. That tends to rub about 2 inches. And it's not very scalloped back here, so I don't have that ability. But nevertheless, it's a little... Actually, it's not tight for legs. Look at this. I'm sitting behind this dude. And I've got plenty of room. I also like these controls. These are very thoughtful controls. This is almost like a car that's meant to be being driven in as opposed to drive, where you can control the passenger seat to move it back and forth. So tons of leg room, but headroom is at a premium. I'm 6'2", so keep that in mind. I like this. Check it out. Heated seats. That's pretty cool. And then, of course, an electric car has to have a frunk. Excuse me, can I pop the frunk? I'm just going to reach in. Yeah, thank you very much. Frunk. Yep, frunk. Thank you, guys. Show you the frunk. Oh, those wheels are very interesting. A lot going on there. So let's see how much room is under the frunk. And the answer is not a lot. You could probably get like, you know, a small lunch or a charging cable back on there. But otherwise, it's not exactly someplace where you could even store a rollerboard. So like I was saying, in terms of efficiency, Hyundai uses an 800-volt architecture. So it can charge, and the manufacturers use these numbers, how long it takes to charge from 20 to 80. I think those are very misleading because it depends on, you know, what station you're at and how much power it's putting out, but it will charge at almost 230 kilowatts which is almost as fast as a Porsche Taycan. A Porsche Taycan charges at 250. So if you happen to run into a 350 kilowatt Electrify America station and you plug it in and everything is hunky-dory, you can get up to 230 kilowatts of charging rate, which is very fast. And this is something that I think all of you electric vehicle people will really appreciate. Hyundai says that the Ioniq 6 will have the ability to pre-condition the battery before you get to this is a white one I'm just showing you, before you get to the charger, so that it will optimize charging time, and it will also use the navigation system to give you the most efficient route possible for your cross-country trip. Now, one of the things I do like about this car, besides the matte paint again, and for all of you guys and gals who love matte paint, Hyundai is very proud of the fact that this matte paint can be run through a car wash and doesn't scuff. You can't have a bird do its thing on it and not worry about putting a little scuff into the paint when you take it off. I do like the look of the back. It's a little bit Aero looking, and it looks like it's a diffuser. And I think that's probably on purpose. So let me go around the side here, show you this color. I'm kind of jonesing for one of these. I think there are two different size tire combinations depending on whether you go the rear wheel drive or the all wheel drive. These are the big ones, 245 40R20s. So good size tire and wheel combo. And it looks pretty sleek and sinister in this color. Design-wise, there are some issues I have with the car. A little bit of it is like it's been designed by two people, right? Like the front and the back don't quite match each other. Oh, this is pretty cool. Check this out. Look at that. Those are the turn signals. I was wondering what this design pattern was. I got the pixel pattern, but I was wondering what that did. Now I know. It actually signals that. Of course, we won't get that in America. Now you might be wondering, price-wise, I would suspect it's going to be very similar to the Ioniq 5, which is, starts about 30, and if you get all the bells and whistles first edition, you're probably looking at over 40, if not $50,000. This is also pretty cool. This little spoiler here with more of the pixel design, which is also fun. So as you can tell, the design language that Hyundai uses is interesting. If you think about an Audi or a Mercedes or an BMW, it's kind of the Matushka doll design theory of cars. And that means that, they're like nestled dolls that all have a family resemblance. Hyundai looks at their cars not as nestled dolls, but more as a chess piece. So while the bottom of the chess piece is the same, let's say the pixel design, right? You can see the pixel design in the new, this is the concept for the Ioniq 7, which is a 3-row seater. The top of the chess pieces are all different. And so they really do kind of design out of the box and keep their vehicles very different based on the look of the car. So, you've got Ioniq 5, Ioniq 6, Ioniq 7, and you can't point to anything but that pixel design as something that is a common thread. Whereas if this was a BMW or Mercedes, they'd all have the same grille. So there you have it, guys. Kind of a walk around of the latest and greatest new electric Hyundai here from Busan in Korea. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you think that they did a good job? Are you impressed? I mean, if the numbers were to hold true, and they said the reason they got 110 more kilometers of range out of the 6 versus the 5 is they've increased the efficiency of the drive units, of the motors, but pretty much everything in the car. Better coefficient of drag. If this indeed in the U.S. can get 400 miles of range, then now we're talking about something that is truly, revolutionary and something that is very, very cutting edge, and will take Tesla on directly. And you gotta love the fact that they weren't afraid to go purple. Yeah, that is pretty cool. All right. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I look forward to more videos from here from Busan. I've done a bunch of cars that are unobtainium for us. They're all going to be over at alltfl.com. Yeah, that way you can catch up on cool things like the Genesis shooting brake that I found here. And of course, I got to look at some of their off-roaders here. So all that is over at alltfl.com. As always, this is Roman saying thanks for watching, and see you next time. I'm heading home and then up to Alaska. Ciao.